Social media is ruining mental health. But when it comes to AI, what if it's actually improving it? That's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to give you 3 reasons to really think about how you can use AI in helping patients with mental health, and more importantly, understanding why it's important to do it now. Let's get into it. First thing you need to realize is that patients are already using AI. There was a Harvard Business Review study that came out not too long ago that talked about people's uses for generative AI in last year. Brainstorming new ideas, helping with programming. But you know what the number one thing that people are using ChatGPT for? It's for therapy and companionship. That's right. People are actually calling and talking to ChatGPT to get a better understanding of their mental status, but also forming deep, deep bonds with AI. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Last year, in 2024, they saw that it was in the top 5. So this is a real trend that's affecting the whole world and mostly your patients. I think it's really imperative that you kind of understand why your patients feel the need to reach out to AI, especially now as we're looking at how to incorporate artificial intelligence in the way you practice medicine. You really need to understand the clinically sound ways and the different trends that are happening right now, or else you're going to be left behind. Give me the next few minutes. I promise you, if you're ready, I'm going to show you the latest information and get how you can incorporate this into your healthcare organization. And I'll do it around 3 areas, right? And I'm going to start with number 1, helping you look at understanding the why will help you get to the how. The second is what you can do to support your patients in this area. And then finally, the steps you can do today that will prepare you for this future. My name is Theo Harvey. I'm a serial entrepreneur who went from lowly employee to CEO, who runs a multi-million-dollar healthcare startup from his home, raised over $1 million from VC, venture capitalists and investors, and worked with large organizations like Cisco Systems, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Charles Barkley Organization, and Google. My mission is to help healthcare professionals prepare for the new normal in healthcare before it's too late. First, you need to understand the why that will get to the how. Simon Sinek says, when you know your why, you'll know your way. And I believe that's so true. Let's talk about this. Why are people turning to AI for therapy help, right? And I think there are 3 main reasons. I'm telling you this for a fact. If you don't understand this, then you will wonder why your patients are not using your services. Patients are actively looking for solutions to their problems. You can offer it, but they're not looking for you. And that's crazy.
That's crazy.
So the 3 areas are, number 1, they need access, emotional safety, and anonymity. Let me say those again. First is access. Second is emotional safety. And third is anonymity. Let's talk about access. What does that mean? We live a 24/7 society, so people want access to these tools when they need it. What does ChatGPT and other AI-based chat tools give you? Accessibility. I can go to it right now and type in anything I want to get information. Number 2, global outreach. Imagine that you are in a rural area of India or areas that getting mental health professionals is just unheard of. You can go on ChatGPT and ask it a question to help you with something and feel connected unlike before. Global reach is so important when it comes to therapies and mental health benefits. Finally, scalability, right? You want to be able to have quick responses, fast responses, right? You don't want to sit there and get the little pinwheel death, right? When you're talking to someone or someone not responding to you right away. Scalability is so key because now these tools can talk to millions of people at the same time. So this is so key when you look at accessibility when it comes to mental health tools. Matter of fact, there's a statistic that says for every mental health professional, there are at least 1,600 people that need their services. I think it's so important that having access for mental health and behavioral issues is so very important for people here in 2025 that people have anxiety about and issues about. And AI gives them a window into what people are yearning for. Next, emotional safety and non-judgment is another key reason why people are turning to AI. Basically, looking for a human not to judge you on your deepest, darkest fears or concerns or thoughts. This is key. I mean, you don't want to have someone judging you and thinking about you a different way and looking down on you. Well, AI never gives you that feeling. The way it's programmed is very chipper, communicates to you in an effective manner. It doesn't seem like it's judging you. And I think people like that. And also, you want to have anonymity. What does that mean? Just a fancy way of saying being anonymous or being something that is between you and someone else. AI gives a perception of anonymity, right? But as we all know, these tools are backed by large organizations that capture data. So just be careful, tell your patients to be wary of giving all the information to AI systems when we know for a fact that sometimes these data, there can be breaches, there can be what they call public health information that can get out there unintended, but it can worsen the situation. And so definitely that is a perception that patients have, and that's why they're going to these tools. I can talk about my own personal journey. Recently I did this exercise. I don't know if you heard of it. It's called the 5 Whys. You keep asking people a question and it would why. And basically they go deeper and deeper because then it gives them understanding of who they are and what they really want. So I did that around several areas of my life: faith, family, finances. The AI just asked me why questions and I responded to those why questions. And it was basically the last sentence I said. It asked me why I felt that way. Why? And you'd be surprised what insight came out of me. I was really impressed by it. And it really shook my mindset on what's possible with these AI tools, from a technology standpoint, but more importantly for mental health, my mental health. One of the things, you have to realize, yes, people are using these tools to tear people apart and divide us. Obviously, every year, every 4 years here in the United States with elections. But guess what? Technology is simply a tool that can either bring people closer together or tear them apart. Let me say that again. Technology is simply a tool that can bring people closer together or tear them apart. And so I think we have to look at these AI tools as a possibility of bringing people deeper understanding of themselves. And if there's deeper transparency, guess what? They're going to open up to a great environment. Here's an action item you can take with you as you think about how can you really support your patients in this journey for something that they want. Well, first, I believe you have to create the environment that's AI-like. What does that mean? You look at some of our previous videos on this channel. I've interviewed healthcare professionals from across the country, and we came up with this 3T format. The first T is testimony. You want to be able to provide your background, your experience, why your healthcare journey is important to you, because we've all been there. There's been an incident with a family member that got you interested in health. There is, your own situations, that drew you in. Have a testimony that you can testify to your patients. Second, you want to be transparent. What does that mean? Just being open. If there is a study that can help the patient, or if there's something about this medication that might not be accurate, be as transparent as you can with them. Don't hide facts, because people always sense when people are not telling the truth. And so be transparent as much as you can, and that opens up them. And finally, tell your truth. Be open about your experiences with healthcare, the good and the bad. Be open about your patients having doubts about things. I guarantee if you follow these 3 T's, transparency, testimony, and telling your truth, I guarantee you're going to create an environment that's AI-like, and your patients are going to be so involved and so engaged with you that you're going to be amazed at what the things that they're going to do to open up about themselves and what they want. And that's the beginning of creating an environment that patients want and are thirsting for based on the study around AI usage. Next, let's talk about these new tools are popping up. It's more important than ever to really start to try them out yourselves. It's just do the work to understand what they're doing. Eric Topol, who's a cardiologist and digital health expert, says, medicine has been remarkably conservative about innovation, but the tools we have now, especially digital, demand that we start to rethink everything. AI definitely has practical applications around automation, doing analysis. We talked about them in previous videos, but guess what? This new ability in providing mental health advice is starting to gain traction. We're seeing more and more folks use it. There was a study from Dartmouth researchers, right? They actually conducted a first ever clinical trial of a generative AI powered therapy chatbot called Therabot. And it found that the software resulted in significant improvements in participants' symptoms according to results published in the New England Journal of Medicine. Participants with generalized anxiety reported an average reduction in symptoms of 31%. And Therapot users showed a 19% average reduction in concerns about body weight and issues, which significantly outpaced the control group that was part of the trial. So there were actual positive outcomes using these therapy chatbots for interaction, right? And I think it was along those three lines we talked about previously, right? Around why people are using these AI tools. This is actually a proven clinical trial around using therapy with AI, showing the benefits for patient care. One simple thing you can do to start going down this path and learning is definitely to learn from those who've already done it before. And so that's why, we're offering a way to be coached by us in helping to understand how to grow your medical practice using technology and AI tools, right? Because we truly believe that the only way for you to start down this path is to learn and experiment so that you can be better. These are tools that coaching and teaching to dozens of medical practice owners and practitioners out there, because we really believe that these tools are something that everyone should take advantage of. And more importantly, take the time to study them now, and it would be better for you, your practice, and your patients. If you're interested, go look below in the show notes below, but you can check us out at practicevaluecreator.io. Once again, that's practicevaluecreator.io. Then finally, what steps can you take today to prepare for this future? First, I definitely want you to make sure you take all the anxiety out of AI, right? There have been all these job losses and the white collar jobs are leaving. They're going to replace doctors. I actually did a video about that as well. But I always tell you this, don't be anxious about this, right? You got to think of AI as a tool. Just like any other tool, it can replace human beings, but the human beings that utilize the tool will become, in essence, have a superpower and become stronger than ever and become a better version of themselves with these powerful tools. Dr. Karen DeSalvo, who's now the chief officer at Google, said technology must work with the clinician, not around them. That's where real progress begins. Absolutely, because there has to be that human interface in order to communicate back to another human, right? It can't just be robot to human. It has to be both. And more importantly, the human provides the context around the data, around the insight that the AI is providing. Let's talk about what could the curve look like when it comes to these tools, especially around AI. Let's talk about the EMR curve, the electronic medical record adoption cycle. I think first there was initial reluctance, right? The EMRs were first introduced. Many doctors naturally resistant, right? Paper charts were the best way. It's more accurate, it's more secure. There was issues around workflows because they have to see so many patients and had to deal with so many different cases. Digitizing all these different documentations seemed daunting. But guess what? We start to see incentives and mandates by the government, especially in the 2000s and early 2010s. There start to be widespread adoption, promoting many practices to transform the way they practice medicine. And so, when you have incentives, that helps to kind of drive that. And it was best ultimately long term. But obviously, there was resistance. But then what we saw over time, growing support, right? As these systems became more and more user-friendly, which is key, new workflows evolved that allowed the practices to start utilizing them in their day-to-day activities. More importantly, they start to see improving patient outcomes, reducing errors, right, from paper handling, and then really understanding the data. Now that the data was digitized, they can see results faster and actually provide better insight for the patient, which is huge. Now we're starting to see, now that the EMR layer is there, now we're seeing the second and third order effects. What does that mean? Basically, we're seeing other opportunities evolve because now we can use digital health tools better. Remote care as a service, providing blood pressure cuffs for patients at home, pulling that back into the EMR so you can see that without having to leave your office. We talked about radiologists be at home to see charts, to be able to see x-rays and communicate back to the practitioner and to the patient, doing cancer diagnosis, helping patients with sleep studies at home. Now that we're in this digital world, we're seeing the ability to provide healthcare in a more convenient manner, but more importantly, faster, and more importantly, increasing access. The more people have the right to get the care that they need. So we can see the same thing is starting to see with AI, right? This adoption curve, right? Resistance, concerns about safety, all that is valid for AI. But we're seeing, unlike these EMR tools, this is really being driven by the consumer side, the patient side, right? Even during the pandemic, we saw the rise of the number of folks looking for telehealth opportunities to talk to their provider remotely. And so now we're seeing the rise of people looking for therapy and companionship with AI tools. And so as healthcare professionals, you have to embrace that and adopt it into your day-to-day practice, or you're going to be left behind. I think it's going to be a similar adoption curve when it comes to AI, some resistance by providers, but the patients are going to lead the way this time. And so why not follow them and help them, guide them, and be a change agent, not a resistor? Here's a simple action plan. Just be curious. Be open to what's possible and how these tools can make you a better provider, make you a better practice or clinic or healthcare organization. That's the solution there. We talked about helping you understand the why. Will help you get to the how, what you can do to support your patients in this area, right? In the different areas. And finally, we talked about steps you can do today to prepare for the future. As you think about this, don't be intimidated. Take that first baby step, whether it's working with us or looking at more YouTube videos or asking your colleagues how they're thinking about it. But you have to start today because the future is now. Before I go, definitely check out more content like this. But look, what is one single use case you wish you could get AI to take over for you? Leave me a note in the comments below about what your thoughts are about this use case.